Everyone. Very excited that some of you are joining us on this Canadian Thanksgiving Monday. And hi, Tiff. I know you're here. Tiff is in the Clubhouse room with me. We've got Samina and we've got Nina. And I want to say a happy good Monday morning. Happy Thanksgiving. How are you? Doing well?
Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hi, Nina. Thanks for joining us today. We've got Michelle Bastock coming in at 5:30. Wow, that is commitment on a holiday Monday. Happy Thanksgiving, Miss Michelle. Thanks for joining us today. Good to see you. I'm going to share my screen as we get into today's 9 minutes of content. Of course, I'm Jennifer Britton, if people are listening in. I think it is day 711. I used to love going to 7-Eleven when I was in the US. So we're called this the 7-Eleven day. We are in week 2 of our foundational element of connection, and we're going to dive into actually day 9. So don't worry about the nomenclature, but today's topic, if you have not looked at where you are, is really all about making connection this week. And we're going to start today with our core skills for success. We'll then move into day 12. So I'm jumping around a little bit in our week 2 just to really dive into some of the ones that I think are a little bit more pertinent for you. So this week, Monday, we're going to talk about day 9, which is the core skills for success. Tomorrow, we're going to look at day 12, context and navigating VUCA. And that will actually nicely align with our dates of the. So again, we are on October 11th. But really in day 9 of the 90-day guide, which is all about core skills for success. And this, of course, is our 7th day meeting. So let's not get hung up on the dates, but rather where we're going. Today, we're going to do our 9 minutes around core skills. And these are all grounded in research. It's areas that I think you will find useful. As we move and proceed throughout the week, on Wednesday of this week, we'll be looking at strengths. And then on Thursday at communication, and we'll be wrapping our week up with planning. Now, it's Monday, and so on Mondays, it's Productivity Monday. If you recall last week, we started off with planning time for our week. We also looked last week at some ideals for remote workers: flexibility, independence, autonomy, freedom, creativity, and I think that there are also a series of other skills. So we're going to work on the screen this morning in our first 9 minutes. If you are not familiar with annotation, you're going to be able to find that at your top bar. If you hover over your viewing Jennifer Britton screen at the top of your screen, please open up annotation. So again, you're viewing Jennifer Britton's screen, hover over that. You'll have a drop down saying view options. And then you'll have the annotate button. We're going to go through this 3-column list one at a time because remote professionals need skills in a whole series of areas. And I thought it would be useful today for you to think about skills maybe on 2 layers. First layer, because most of you are either a leader or a coach, I'd like you to think about the skills the people you support require. Okay, so this first exercise, we're going to look at it through the lens of the people you support. And we're going to work starting on the left-hand side of the screen. I'd love to invite you to think about this first left-hand column. With the people you support, do they need skills in coaching, collaboration, conflict management, decision-making, delegation, feedback, focus, goal setting, influence, intercultural skills, or leadership? Maybe pick your top 2 or 3. And what we'll do is we'll just use annotation on the screen, share with us which of these areas on the left-hand column only your people need support right now. Okay, so the coaching, collaboration, conflict management, pick a couple of those. And again, we're using the annotate function and the stamping. Certainly, you know, a lot of these are sort of hard to get into 1 or 2 areas. I've picked feedback and conflict management. That's a pain that I'm hearing right now for a lot of teams that are coming back together. there really is no right answer here because, of course, everyone is at a different space. So we're going to move to the second column, the mid column, and here's another set of skills that people need: listening, mentoring, negotiation, especially if they're perhaps an entrepreneur, networking. And we're doing some focus Wednesdays on networking here, planning, presentations, both one-on-one, sorry, not one-on-one, presentations both virtual and in person. And when I mean presentations 101, I mean the baseline of presentations. How do you do good slide design? How do you talk effectively? How do you actually create the structure of a solid presentation? Another area is prioritization and problem solving, project management, and even questioning. Questioning so you can have better conversations. So that's quite a lay of the land. And again, I'll invite you to think about someone or people that you're working with. What are one or two areas that they are needing at the moment? Where could they be benefiting from in terms of their support? And I'm going to go down here with questioning as well. I'm also going to go, I'm going to go to mentoring. I've been doing a lot of work this summer with one of my colleagues in the States. Back in 2014, we co-created a program called Mentor Roadmap. And she's been running with it for many years in the US. I do several engagements every year here in Canada, but one of her clients, one of our clients really needed to 10x their mentoring program this summer. And they went from having about 80 people a year to 800 people a year going through training. So that was huge, right? And skills that we're seeing here: questioning, problem solving, planning, feedback, big areas, listening. So with that, let's go to our third area again, noticing. And Tiff, I know you're here on Clubhouse, so Tiff can't see these, but we had people, stamping things like mentoring, problem solving, questioning. I think those are, and planning are the big ones in the next column. And then we're going to move to the right. So we've got relationship building, and which is a little different than relationships, social identity, knowing who we are, understanding each other, technology, estimating time, which is different than time management. So time estimation being in the project management category, help understanding like how long does it really take to get a task done. And that is different than, of course, time management. Troubleshooting, working across differences, and of course, working across time zones. So for yourself, once again, just grab one or two of these that you think is important for your clients right now if they are remote workers. And we've got Tiff and Jer this morning. That's great. I'm so excited to have both of you here. Tiff, if you want to unmute, is there an area that you really see remote workers needing to thrive in right now?
I think time estimation. I think being able to plan your time. I'm really looking into time.
Yeah.
There's always time. You've got to schedule. What gets scheduled gets done. That's what I'm focusing on. I think it's important. And I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, well, time estimation is a really interesting one. I find in my work with a lot of teams, especially project teams, they really struggle with this area of time estimation. So it's good on the board for those that are here. We've got, time management, relationship building. So regardless, my invitation this week is, what are the skills that are going to help you and the people you support? If you're a coach or a leader, what's going to help them thrive? As we move through the 90 days of this process, we will be touching on most, if not all. In fact, I'm looking at the ones that we've really stamped this morning. Things like conflict management, problem solving, questioning. These are all things that we're going to see a lot more of in our individual days. So any comments, questions from those in the room with me today? We've got a lot of you here starting off a Monday, a holiday Monday. Any questions or comments?
Just a question, Jennifer. When you started off the session, you talked about some other, I guess, I don't know if they're skills or maybe they're characteristics. Maybe that's the difference between like being autonomous, self-sufficient, independent. I don't see these on this list. So just wondered about the connection there.
So the connection is really, you've got it absolutely there, Cheryl. So these are skills that we can build, we can train on, we can coach on, we can mentor on, we can job shadow on. The characteristics, things like, our ability to be flexible, our ability to be autonomous, are a little harder to train, right? And those are often the characteristics that we will want to recruit for, because they are developed over, there would be a good debate here, right? Are they developed over time, or are they innate? Things like flexibility and adaptability. And I know in all the years that I was leading remote teams and hybrid teams, one of the most important characteristics that I felt we wanted to hire for was that flexibility and adaptability, right? People could have great technical skills, but if they weren't flexible and adaptable, we knew that in the world that I operated within, which was the UN and post-disaster management, it was going to be really hard for them, right? They could be great technicians, but if they didn't have that ability to see how they'd have to innovate, have to really like adjust the skills. So great question, Cheryl. And again, today's focus is really those core skills. That is day number, and I'm looking at my clock. So we're following in the 90-day guide the calendar day. So it's officially day 11. It's October the 11th. So if you're working through it progressively, you will want to be looking at day 11 today. But because we're not meeting on weekends, this is officially our 7th call. And that's where we have all these different numbers happening. So what I'll be doing is putting up in the Facebook group this week, and of course that's a virtual and remote visionaries hub, I'll be including the roadmap for the week. As we build this out and continue experimenting, I'm getting a little bit better on that. So I'm going to just stop the share. Good to see all of you this morning. And we'll dive right back in, because here is your field work on page number, and my screen is hiding this, on page number, I believe it's 89 of the 90-day guide. There's a calendar. There is a table that looks like this. And I know that for Tiff and Jer, who are on Clubhouse, you can't see this, but there's a table which puts a set of skills, some a little bit different, some of those characteristics, into 4 categories. So we can also look at our skills from a couple of lenses. Ourselves, who we are. So where are we in terms of our own self-development, our influence, collaboration, relationship development, emotional intelligence, empathy, time management, financial management. Today, I'd love for each one of you to go through and actually rate yourself on a series of a 1 to 10 in each of these areas. So those are skills we can control. And for many of us, even if we're a solopreneur, we're probably going to have team or people around us. That's been an evolving theme. So it can also be useful to think about your team and what are the styles? How do they like to operate? What support need do they need? What about conflict management and communication, relationships, and building team culture? Rate yourself on these areas, as well as the results layer. So the 3rd column is results, getting things done, execution, work practice, boundaries, reducing distractions, getting things done in both the online and offline work, and of course, project management. And then we have a couple of other categories, disruptions. And notice that disruptions are a little different than distractions, right? So disruptions are the things that we as human beings have been moving through in this last 18 months, especially. Another that I think we're seeing even more today than before, merging your worlds, right? So how do you merge the virtual or online along with the physical, or maybe the digital and the physical? We all have different nomenclature around that. But I think the pain point for many of us in straddling these worlds is just starting to be heard. And as challenging as it was to be all digital for 18 months or more, when we then go to a hybrid of physical and digital, it can create a whole new slew of options. And that often is a conversational area to look at. And then a final other category is the area of design. I really think design has come into its own. If you think about the conversations and the relationships even that you've had, developed in the digital space in this last 18 months, design is playing out in the background. And I'd like to just put that little seed in your brain right now. Like, go through your week and notice design, and design as simple as what's on a slide, what colors are there, all of those things. Making things visual has been really important. So we are well into week 2. Connection is our theme this week. We're going to be doing a bit of planning in just a minute. So here's your invitation. Grab your pen and paper. Hopefully you've got a notebook going. And if you haven't started one yet, it's a new week. So start a new notebook. If you have a screen, if you prefer to do that. Again, a refresh of our week, which is going to be Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 8 Eastern. Today is core skills for success. So whatever mountain you are climbing or river you are crossing, there's probably a next skill to be working on. I was just talking with my family this morning as we're getting ready for our Thanksgiving turkey today. Yesterday, we closed the cottage. So that was a whole episode in and of itself. We didn't quite get the turkey back in because it was like 7 o'clock by the time we got back from the cottage last night. So the turkey's going in today. But, you know, we were talking about just how important it is to really continue to navigate with a lot of, you know, changes and complexities. And that's going to take us into Tuesday's focus of context and navigating VUCA. On Wednesday, we're going to be looking at strengths, one of my favorite categories. And so if you have done a Strengths Finder or a Via Strengths, I'm going to invite you to bring that with you on Wednesday. Strengths is something really key in this digital space, as well as in the space of change. And so whether it's for your purpose or the people you support, really want to give us an opportunity this week to think about strengths, as well as communication and planning. So most of these, not all of them, but most of these you will find in the 90-Day Guide for Success in week 2 of the series. And you can follow along. Again, our nomenclature is the first number of the day is the day of our live meetings that we've done. The second number, so today is 7/11, is the day in the book. So you can actually go to the 90-Day Guide for Success, day 11. And with that, let's get into some planning for the week. So our planning questions are pretty straightforward every week. We're going to first start off with a 2-minute burst around what are your top 3 priorities for this week? What are your top 3 priorities for this week? I'm going to set my timer. Might put Jer and also Tiff on sort of hold right now. Hopefully you can hear the timer chime in the background. 2 minutes, everyone. Make a list of your top 3. That might be your top 3 professional and top 3 personal activities and priorities. All right, that is about 2 minutes. And here's what I want you to do. Take another minute and make sure that those goals and those priorities are SMART-E. On Friday, when we last met, we talked about SMART-E goals. Are they specific? How will you know you've been successful? Or what will wild success look like for each of these? How are they exciting? And how are they time bound as well? Okay, we're going to do one more 2-minute burst. And this time I'd like you to think about who or what can help you activate and accelerate these goals this week. Who or what can help you activate and accelerate these goals this week? All right, that is time. So would anyone like to share one of their goals for the week? Because again, we know that that act of public declaration can sometimes up the ante. So I'm going to stop my share so we can see each other on this screen. I know we've got Jer and Tiff as well. So Tiff, I'm going to go to you in Clubhouse first. Anything that you or Jer want to share?
Hi, thanks. I'm so glad Jara's here. She's not able to share right now. Oh, she did say at one point marketing. That's important. And for me, the priority is just remembering to reach out to people. That's my goal.
Okay.
Continue to reach out.
continue to reach out. Excellent. Anyone in the room have an outreach marketing relationship goal? I know one of mine is, because that's a topic that we've been talking about. Nina, is there anything else you want to share, Nina, about your goals this week?
Sure. So this week is actually I'm focusing on my finishing off my marketing research for right before launching my program. So so I'm focusing on that, and I'm actually having interviews with about 100 people. So I'm getting a couple of people's help to get all of that done. So it will be an important week for me.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
talking about strengths, what strengths can you lean into this week to help you just soar through it?
Oh, well, I think very, very important for that whole idea of leading others. So how to help them feel connected to the mission of what we're doing. So it's not only about them doing a job, but it's about realizing that we're really trying to create a movement that will be helpful and of service to anyone who later on joins, and that there are stakeholders in that.
Fantastic. I love that. And that's a real activator, right? Back to activate and accelerate.
Yeah.
We help people go to that why. And I was flipping back, actually, if you think back to what we did last week, day 3, I had you answer that question. I am a blank who supports blank. So go back maybe to day 3 and take a look at what we did back then. Excellent. Okay, look at how all this is tying together, right? This week is about making connection, and connection across people, connection with ideas. Connections help us accelerate these different elements. So we've got another 3 minutes left. Would anyone else like to share what they're focusing on? One of their goals for the week. So I'll share one of mine. And this is something that's been on my list for a while. I don't know about you, but I often carry elements forward just because they don't get done. But I brought it to number 1, and that's getting some articles out this week. I have wanted to be publishing on a regular basis back on LinkedIn. I did this about 5 years ago and saw great results in the business. And so my goal this month, or for the rest of the quarter really, is to get 2 articles out on my LinkedIn publishing platform, just to be consistent with that. So that is number 1 on my list. I want to actually have 3 articles ready to go, but actually post 1. So not huge, but it's that consistency that I know is so important in keeping things moving. That, along with, interestingly, I do a top 3 list. I do a professional side and I do a personal side. And I just want to put that out to all of you. Some of you might find this interesting. On the personal side, what I'm noticing today, and it follows a theme of this past weekend, has been doing a lot of clearing, right? As I've closed down the cottage, it meant that I actually was able to take some things from my office up there for winter storage, doing the same with some of my parents' things as well. So just noticing there's a lot of clearing, which I know when I clear things, it makes space for even greater things. So with that, any final comments? Like, let me ask you this. Let me reframe this and ask you, what's the energy you want to step into the week with? Okay, so what's the energy you want to step into this week with? Pick an adjective, close your eyes maybe, and do a little drawing of what that energy is. We want to activate the other part of the brain before we get done. But what is the energy? Just go with your gut, draw it down on that same page, and that's going to help you get anchored for your week. All right, and that is now 8 a.m. Eastern. I want to say a big thank you for coming back for another day. Thanks, Tiff and Jer. I always love knowing that we have people on Clubhouse as well. And with that, I'll be back here tomorrow morning as we continue our journey along. So have a great week. Have a wonderful holiday Monday for those celebrating. And if not, we'll have turkey for you today. Take care. See you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.